Hello my loves, welcome back to my bullet journaling channel and welcome to my November 2025 bullet journal setup. I'm so excited you're here. This video is a day or two late and I do apologize for that. I've had some rescheduling happening recently with my very busy schedule, but I couldn't be more excited to be here with you guys showing you my setup for the month of November, which if you didn't know is my absolute favorite month of the year. I love the late autumn to holiday season / period of the year as we go from like early September to Christmas, and November is the perfect spot in the middle of that in my opinion, where the temperature is finally cooling in Texas, but we also get like excitement for the holiday season with like Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's just the best. So I love November and I always want to make my bullet journal themes kind of match my excitement, I guess, for the month. That sounds so stupid, but I'm trying to say here that like I really like November, so I want my theme to look really good. And the theme that I eventually decided on for this particular month is a dragon theme. Now, as per usual, that's been happening a lot with me recently, I will come up with a theme or sketch out these spreads literally the night before recording. It used to be when I was younger, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago when I was making bullet journaling videos, I would sketch out the theme a week in advance because I was so excited to try new ideas and to try new spread ideas and stuff like that. And I do feel like I kind of got to the point. This is my 6th year bullet journaling. I've done, let's see, almost, I think this is like my 70 or 71st bullet journal theme for myself only, not to mention the amount of themes I've done for other people, for other journals, for my undated bullet journal that I sell on my online shop, other things. So like all that being said, I've done a lot of theme ideas, and I am not saying that I've run out of ideas per se, but I will just say that every time I come up with an idea, I feel like I've done it before. Like I keep repeating ideas mentally. I'm like, oh, I want to do like a ballet theme. And I was like, girl, you did that in March of like 2023 or 2022, something like that, you know? I wanted to do a dragon theme for this month. And then I remembered in literally June of this year, a mere couple of months ago, I did a theme of a fire character girl and she had a little dragon sitting on her shoulder. And it wasn't an entire theme based around dragons, but it still had that element in it. And I was like, girl, you have done this already a couple months ago. But although I am at the point where I'm like repeating themes, I'm also at the point where I'm like, girl, who even cares? Like, do what you want to do, you know? So I found this dragon. I don't know if it's a drawing or just an AI created piece here, but I decided to recreate this picture that I saw on Pinterest, this like sculpture / drawing of a dragon. I thought the pose was really cool. I thought that the face and like the ferocious expression was really sick. And so yeah, that's what's like covering the entirety of my left side of the spread here. Now this is the first time in months that I'm actually drawing directly into my journal. I feel like I've been doing alcohol marker spreads since, let me see, April. No, I think it was actually April. I haven't done a theme where I've drawn directly into my bullet journal since March, I don't think, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, we're pulling back to just drawing simply in our bullet journal for once this month. And I'm using this fine liner here to start by doing the entire outline and then cross hatching over the entire dragon. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still after filming debating whether or not I liked this idea. In general, I think cross-hatching is really cool and I like the texture it gives and being able to create shadows by just repeating lines over and over again. But when I see the finished result, or when I show you the finished result, I suppose, you can tell me whether or not you think it looks good with all the shading or if it would have been better to keep it with just the line art. I'm still a little torn on that one, to be honest. I love the shading, but whenever I finish the art from the entire cover, you may change your mind. So we'll have to see. But yeah, this is the final dragon all cross-hatched in. And then I'm kind of drawing it overlapping a little bit, the calendar here on the right, to create one cohesive cover page spread. Before we get into the rest of today's video, I want to thank our partner Teddy Blake for sponsoring today's video. Teddy Blake is a luxury design bag company that has sent me multiple bags in the past, including this beautiful one, and I have a fantastic deal for you guys. From now until November 1st on their website, you can get up to 35% off some of their gorgeous designer bags, and also you can use my code TBMangoStudio30 to get 10% additionally off of your purchase. So hypothetically, you could get a bag for almost 50% off before November 1st. So a great deal to capitalize on. But what is Teddy Blake? I love their brand because their luxury bags are so perfect, minimal, but classy for every single occasion. This particular bag is their Ava 9-inch white bag. It is a beautiful handcrafted leather bag with gold detailing and this flap that opens and closes and a suede interior. I've actually had this bag for I think 2 to 3 years, and it's really just been a great staple to keep in my closet. It goes with almost every single outfit. It elevates everything that I'm wearing and makes me look so much more classy and professional. The perfect amount of space to hold wallet, keys, phone, lipstick, things like that when you're on the go, whether going shopping, going out to eat at night, just running errands. I think this bag really works for so many different occasions, and I really, really love it. On their website though, they have a really large plethora of different designs. You can get small handbags, you can get very large tote bags, and anything in between, all handcrafted in Italy with purpose and design. And once again, beautiful, authentic leather. These are high quality bags that will stay with you a very long time. And the best part is too, you can get this kind of luxury without a crazy price tag in the thousands and $2,000. Even without the sale, Teddy Blake really prioritizes making sure that their prices are affordable and accessible for all people so that they can all appreciate the beauty of a great bag without having a huge price tag along with it. So if you want to go check out Teddy Blake for yourself, I will have a link in the description box below for you to go check them out, as well as use my code TBMingoStudio30 for an additional 10% off of the sale that they're currently hosting. My discount code also works past November 1st, so if the sale is over, you can still get some money off with my discount code. And I really hope that you guys get some bags so we can match together. Thank you so much, Teddy Blake. I really appreciate you guys. And with that, let's get back into the video. Now, I bet one thing you weren't expecting when you clicked on this video was for me to bring out colored pencils for my bullet journal setup this month, but indeed, for some reason, I decided this was the route to go down. Now, I haven't used colored pencils in my bullet journal, or honestly anywhere, in I think years. I've had this set of Prismacolor colored pencils. It's like a 26 set of pencils. I think I've had it since like legitimately 5 or 6 years. I used to love doing super hyper realistic portraits in my sketchbooks, and I would use colored pencils to create a really smooth blend and skin texture and stuff like that. This was way before I got into alcohol markers and I fell in love with alcohol markers. I used to just really love colored pencils, and I liked the precision you could get and the smooth blend that you could get. And so yeah, this used to be like my bread and butter. And since I fell in love with alcohol markers, I really haven't touched these very much since. Sometimes I'll do a little, you know, something here or there to add some extra texture with some pencils, but I've never really done a full illustration with a colored pencil, like smooth gradient like this in a hot minute. And I debated whenever I was sketching this out if I wanted to create this idea that I had in my head with watercolor instead, because I do feel like in general watercolor would have a smoother blend, or at least achieve that blend a little easier than it would be to do with colored pencils, because colored pencils requires a lot of back and forth and layering and going over the same spot again and again and again to make it look super smooth. Even with high quality pencils like these Prismacolor ones, which I still love 5 years later, I do think that the blend would have been a little bit more difficult without them. Oh wait, pause, sorry, interrupting myself to say that I actually had to film this video over 2 separate days, and in between those 2 nights I did do my nails, so that's a little bit of a change there. But moving on. Yeah, even with the high quality Prismacolor pencils, I think that if I'd used other pencils, it would have gotten a very similar effect. It just would have been harder to create that blend, but nonetheless, watercolor would have been easiest in general. The one reason I chose to stick with pencils and not do watercolor is because since I was drawing directly into my bullet journal, I didn't want to use a bunch of water to really saturate the paper and maybe cause rippling or bleeding or ghosting or even ripping, God forbid. So to kind of prevent that from happening, I just wanted to avoid paint completely. If I was drawing this in a piece of paper outside of my bullet journal that I was then pasting in, I would 100% use watercolor. That way I could mess around with it and I would just, like, you know, paste in the paper. It wouldn't matter if it was wrinkled or ghosting because you wouldn't be able to see the back of it, you know? But again, drawing directly in my spreads, you gotta take some more precautionary measures, and to do that, I use colored pencils. And honestly, it was so fun. This is like very, very therapeutic. Like trying to create a smooth gradient blend across this entire page, because yes, babes, we are coloring in the entire background of the spread, minus a little bit of margin on the sides, top and bottom, and then of course the calendar and the dragon. But everything else on this page is colored in a version of pink or beige-ish orange to kind of create a sunsetty effect in the background. background. Now, yes, hypothetically, if the sun was setting, the lightest colors would be at the bottom and the dark would be at the top. I get that it is very realistic, but I wanted you to still be able to read the word November, and I feel like if I had done the dark purpley on the top instead of the bottom, you would not have been able to read it. So we make sacrifices when need be. But yeah, again, super therapeutic. This brought me back to my old days of using color pencils all the time. Trying to create a smooth blend is so much going back and forth, and I really recommend if you're trying to recreate something like this or just kind of practice more with colored pencils and creating more realism with colored pencils, smooth gradients and things like that, you really just have to go over light then dark then light then dark then light then dark over the exact same spot until you create that smooth, like blurred effect between colors. And is this design here perfect even when I was done with it? No, absolutely not. It was not, but I do think it looks really soft, really pretty. I'm quite happy with it. I'm glad that I added some clouds in the background too. I do think that without the clouds it would have just looked like a really weird gradient, but the clouds kind of bring in like, oh hey, this is supposed to be like a pretty background. So I appreciate that I made that little decision. But yeah, was this incredibly time consuming? It absolutely was. It took me hours to film this, and not because it was like super detailed. Even like honestly, the dragon itself took me like 15-20 minutes to do that entire thing plus the shading. The gradient took me like 45. Like it was twice as long just to do the color in the background. But again, I think it looks really good. I'm really happy with it. And my only drawback to this entire spread, I think, is the fact that the dragon kind of looks a little funky with its really harsh shading with the cross hatching with the very smooth and soft background. So that's why I'm saying like maybe I should have left it without the cross hatching and kept it with just the line art. When we go into the next spread, you will see I didn't use cross hatching on that second spread, so you'll see a little bit of a difference, and you can tell me which one that you prefer. But yeah, besides that little thing, honestly, I'm still really happy with this entire spread. It's something new, very different for me. I really like how it turned out. I think the pinky purple sunset, it doesn't give fall, you know, like it's not an overly November autumnal theme, but I'm honestly really sick of just like, hey, it's fall, let's do pumpkins and ghosts, you know? Like it's cool if you want to do it, but like for me, I want to try new things and be more creative. So even if the sunset isn't specifically autumn, I think it's still super pretty, and I think the colors still fit for the November vibe in my opinion. And so yeah, I'm really happy with it. I hope you like it too. Anyway, we've moved into the second page here, and as you can see, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a spread within a spread Dutch door situation. So if you didn't know, a Dutch door is usually whenever you cut a little bit off of the side, top, or bottom of a spread to make it seem like it's a mini spread because you can see the spread behind it because some of it has been cut out. Did that make any sense at all? I'm not sure, but you can kind of see whatever I did in the video. But instead of just cutting out like one side, I cut 3 sides. So I cut about 1 inch off the top, bottom, and right of 2 pages in this journal. So now I have a little booklet in the middle of this overall spread. And as you can see, I'm going to be keeping all of the like planning elements, like my weekly spreads and academic planners in this little booklet section. And then all the sketching around the edges is where I'm eventually going to be making my art. Now going into November is going to be a super busy month for me. In fact, this entire semester has been really busy. If you didn't know, besides my business / YouTube channel, I do have 2 other part-time jobs. I'm also the president of a very intensive club at my university. I'm in 5 classes, I'm in a Bible study, I volunteer. Like, your girl is very busy, and I'm so happy with everything that I'm doing, and I'm having so much fun this semester. It's been such a good time, but that is honestly why, I mean, sidetrack here, but that's why my posting has been kind of slowing down recently on both this channel and my book channel. It's because I've been having to, you know, make time for other things, and that's also why I decided to kind of simplify my setup for this month. I wanted to create every single weekly spread I will need from the 1st to the 30th of November all at once, so I don't have to spend any time on Sundays creating spreads to be able to plan with. I want to make it as easy for me as possible. So the spread in the very first page is my academic planner, which is basically just one big grid. Every row is a different week and every column is a different class. So I can put all of my assignments, to-dos, exams, things like that for each class in that little chart on the first page. It looks really boring, I know, but it is incredibly helpful for me to plan out my academics. Like, it's just, I started this freshman year and I haven't looked back since. It's just so helpful. And then the next two spreads are my weekly spreads. And yes, there are only two, but it's because there are 8 boxes on each spread. So by the time you get to the last page, it's like, oh, that's 32 boxes. So there's actually, I think, 2 days that I cut off of the last page to make it exactly 30 for every single day in the month of November. The boxes are a teeny bit small. I won't lie, they're a little smaller than I would usually like to fill in all of my daily to-do lists, but I do honestly I can write small. I can make do. Ideally, I would have loved to make the boxes a little bit bigger to accommodate for everything, but I decided to sacrifice my space in favoritism for my artwork, and that's what we're working on the edge here. So you guys saw me kind of do the outline of all these different flying dragons, which I actually love. I think the spread is so, so cool. I'm such a dragon girly. If you don't know, like Fourth Wing, When the Moon Hatched, like How to Train Your Dragon, for gosh sakes, like I am a dragon girl. I always have been, I always will be. I love reading them in books, watching them in movies, and now I love drawing them. And I decided to cover this entire spread with flying dragons, and I think it looks so, so sick. I'll put the pictures here on the screen of inspiration that I found. A lot of them are actually tattoo ideas, which are on my tattoo inspiration board on Pinterest. I will not lie. Like, I would love to get a dragon tattoo. That would be so incredibly sick. But I decided to take that inspiration into my bullet journal this time and kind of draw a couple of them around the pages here. And then you can see I'm going to be, I already have been, actually not going to, I have been doing a gradient very, very similar to the first page around the box as well. This gradient doesn't quite touch the edges of the paper, but it does create a big, bold border around the entire spread while also kind of caging in the productive elements like the academic planner and the weekly spreads. So I think it is functional and I think it does look really cool, and it did take me flipping forever to do, but the end result is so satisfying. And I think honestly the blend on this page is better than the first page. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think that it looks smoother. Everything except for the very, very bottom. I don't know if you noticed this, but on the first page, there was a certain point where I was drawing and my very dark purpley brown pencil did crack. And I realized that in the house, we don't have a pencil sharpener. If you don't know, I moved into a new apartment with my friends a couple months ago, and we're still lacking things in the house, and one of those is a pencil sharpener. So I did indeed go to the kitchen and I used a potato peeler to sharpen my pencil. And because of that, it was not a very good job, and the pencil itself was a little ragged. So the gradient at the very, very bottom is still a little patchy. It's not perfect, but overall, I think it looks so good. And I think it's so satisfying to watch this in I don't know, 10 times speed. Now, unfortunately, I did lose just a little bit of footage at the end of the video here when I was drawing the very last bit of clouds on the right side of the spread. So we are going to cut and miss just a couple of minutes of me doing that, but you get the idea. It's the same thing as the first page. I have been speaking so fast for this entire video, oh my gosh. But with that being said, I think this is pretty much the end of the video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below, which do you prefer? The dragon with the cross hatching or the dragons without? I'm kind of leaning to the ones without, but maybe it would look a little weird if the entire dragon on the first page, because it's so big, wouldn't have any shading. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you so, so much. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my next video. And if you want to watch my last one, I'll put it here on the screen for you to go check out. Have an amazing week.